Hi, this is Joe and welcome back to the shop. We have an old tired battery powered vacuum here. We're going to see if we can take this thing apart, maybe beef up the battery by putting a higher voltage battery, maybe overvolt the motor a little bit, get it to turn faster, maybe generate a little bit more vacuum. So let's start tearing this thing apart and seeing what we can do. After testing all of the individual cells in the battery pack, the static voltages look good, but when you run the vacuum after about 30 seconds, the motor of the vacuum really starts to decrease and the suction drops dramatically. So that appears to be unrecoverable battery sag. The batteries basically are just wearing out. Again, the static voltage, we're getting like 1.2 and a half volts per cell, but yet again, the battery pack just doesn't have the current capability. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the original battery pack. We're going to do a little modification to the plastic enclosure of the vacuum. And what I have here is a Bauer USB adapter, but what I want to use is the female battery connector portion of this, and we're going to take this apart and modify this so we can then take a Bauer tool battery and then mount this into the plastic case, and then we can mount a Bauer lithium-ion battery and then run the vacuum from that. Now, if you've looked at my other videos, the Bauer battery packs are quite nice. They use Samsung batteries, and they're also one of the cheapest battery packs out there. The amp and a half battery pack is like $24 and change. So that's pretty cheap, and again, the batteries are really good shape. Let's go ahead, we'll make some modifications to the case, and then we'll see how we can fit this USB adapter to the actual plastic housing of the vacuum. On the bottom of the vacuum housing, there is a cutout here. Not quite big enough for the USB adapter, but really close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this mounting point here. This is how the original NiCad battery pack was charged. There's a little hook here, and there's some contacts that were right here. If you look on the bottom of the original battery pack, here's your two charging contacts. So we're not going to have to mount that in the wall charger anymore, because we're just going to use a Bauer battery pack that can be removed and charged externally. On the USB adapter, there is a belt clip here. We're going to take and we're going to remove that so we have a nice flat surface. And then I'm going to come up with some way of mounting this flat surface to the underside of the vacuum. We've disassembled the USB adapter and we've cut the wires from the circuit board that provides voltage from the female connector to the USB board. So we don't need the USB board anymore. So we'll put this off to the side. What I'm going to do is take some different gauge wire, and I'm going to solder on. We need the two outside terminals here. We need the positive, which is called B+, and the negative, which is called the B-. So we're going to solder some slightly larger gauge wire onto these connectors. We're going to then reassemble the case and drill a hole in the back side so we can run the wire out and into the vacuum housing to connect directly to the motor. We've cut the belt clip off, and we expanded the USB slots to a single slot. So when we go to install the battery connector, we can run the wires out the back. We're going to use a Dremel tool to trim out an opening in the bottom of the vacuum housing to fit the USB adapter. I've made a metal plate, and we'll set that just like that. Then we'll mark the holes. Tomorrow I have some weld-on nut plates coming from McMaster Car. We'll line up those holes, drill the holes. We'll transfer those holes to the USB adapter. Then we'll mount the USB adapter through the plate to the vacuum housing, and that way it will be really firmly mounted to the vacuum. Once everything is done, we will paint this so there'll be no risk of any shorting to the metal plate, but there shouldn't be. The wires are going to be insulated, going to go down through here directly to the motor, but we'll still paint it to prevent rust prevention. So we're making progress. The video's getting a bit long, so we're going to break this video up on the vacuum conversion into two parts. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the second part coming up shortly.